Hey everyone, welcome to the video. This one we're going over the really small 3-game NBA slate for today on Draftkings. And sorry this video is coming out so late. I, for some reason, have a sociology class at 7 a.m. on Tuesdays. It's absolutely horrendous. I don't even know why I'm in it, but I am. So I have to be there really early, so I have to go to bed earlier, so I don't have time to stay up till like 2 in the morning to do some research to get the video out at night. So I apologize. This is coming out probably at 12 p.m., but hopefully it's still early enough for you guys to be able to see it. It should be. Anyway, before we continue, if you leave a like and if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. I really appreciate it. You can also follow me on Twitter at ChrisPinell16. And if you're interested in the spreadsheets, I build every single night for the NBA season, and I update it throughout the day, projected minutes, projections. Then you get the values on there, so you know who's going to be the best value. Do my cheat sheet. I got all the advanced statistics, fantasy points per minute, all that good stuff. So it's right at the ready. It's all color coded, nice and neat. You also get access to my Slack chat where you can talk to me all day. I'll post updates throughout the day. It's the easiest way to reach me, and my cheat sheet as well. So anyway, that's enough plugging. I say we get right into the video. And if I didn't say it already, you can follow me on Twitter at ChrisPinell16, and let's get right into it. So from this slate, it's looking like we can afford 1 or 2 studs on this. I don't think I'm going to go 3 studs because there actually is some mid-range options I like on this slate, so it's a little bit different than usual. I have no problem if I'm going to go stars and scrubs, and maybe some more value opens, we can do it again. But I'm looking at probably 2 studs, not 3, but we'll see. If you can fit 3 in, great. If not, I think 2 is just fine. But we're going to start with my number 1 guy on the slate, and it's going to be LBJ at 9,700. So, like I said, there's a ton of studs on this slate, and my plan is to play pretty much 2 of them, depending on how much value ends up opening up, because there's situations to monitor throughout the day, like always, and last night was a mess. The Pelicans, Drew Holiday got ruled out, and then Derek Favors, so it was just a mess. It was like around 6:30, so there's a bunch of updates I had to do. Barely got my lineup in. I thankfully did just in time, but had a lot of Pelicans, so. But anyway, LeBron, he's my number 1 play of the night with his matchup versus Memphis, who's getting absolutely killed by opposing guards this season. And yeah, it's point LeBron, so he's going to be pretty much a guard this season. The Grizzlies gave up 64 real-life points to LeVert and Kyrie, 57 to Dragic, Nunn, and Hero, whatever, and 37 to Levine. So yeah, these are all pretty darn bad, and I see no reason that their terrible defense so far gets better in this matchup, especially versus LeBron and the Lakers, especially and Anthony Davis as well. So also the Grizzlies are playing at a very fast pace this season, second highest in the league actually, and the Lakers also come in with the highest implied team total of the slate at 115. On the season, he has a usage rate of right around 30%, and he's averaging 1.42 fantasy points per minute, which we'd like to see come up a little bit, and I think it will eventually. And I still have a ceiling here, and he always has triple-double upside, and he already has 1 on the season with his elite passing ability and rebounding ability, especially since he's the main distributor on this team now with this, I believe, 50% assist rate. And on the season, he's averaging 50 fantasy points per game with 23 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds. So he's already averaging a double-double, and he's really close to a triple-double. I know it's a really small sample size, but still, it's what we have to go off of. So given this big minutes, in the mid-30s matchup, and the fact that it's LeBron James, he's my number 1 guy tonight to spend up on. He doesn't absolutely break the bank, and he's not as expensive as Anthony Davis. So I do like LeBron here at 9,700. He's pretty easy to fit in your lineup, and he's also a late-night hammer because this game's at 10:30, so you have that nice safety net at the end of the night. So LeBron, I'm plugging him in. Then there's a lot of ways you can go next, but I'm looking at some Anthony Davis at 10,300. So he's the most expensive guy on the slate. And if he falls under the radar tonight with guys like Doncic and LeBron and Jokic on the slate, it makes him one of my more favorite plays of the slate. Maybe my most favorite one if we're gonna get Anthony Davis at 10:30 at night at lower ownership because we know his insane upside. And also my favorite part, like I said, he's a late night hammer, and I love having those late night games, even though it really doesn't affect anything. It just makes me feel good to have guys that play late with huge upside, because you could be back from out of cashing, then you just come out of nowhere, and then you're in the money. So yeah, I like Anthony Davis a lot, and he finally had more of a breakout game versus the Hornets, which obviously he should have, because the Hornets cannot guard big men whatsoever. We saw Towns put up a huge game, then I forget who the other one was, but also put up a big game. And he had 1.8 points per minute in that contest, and he has a massive 33% usage rate out of him this season, and I think him and LeBron are both in for big nights, and I have no issues with stacking the two together versus Memphis, who, like I said, plays at a pretty fast pace this season and has been one of the bottom defenses to start the season. They really don't have anyone that can guard Anthony Davis. Really, no team does it really at all. He's averaging 1.53 points per minute on the season, which is more than LeBron. And if we get him over 30 minutes, which he obviously should, I got him for about like 32, 33 minutes with upside of in the mid-30s. he should easily hit 60 fantasy points, and he could flirt with 70 just depending on if he's hitting his shots or getting those rebounds, blocks, and steals. So Anthony Davis, I like him a lot tonight, so I'm going to try to plug him in. If you can't afford him, I understand. And as for Luka and Jokic tonight, I don't not like them. I wouldn't have any issues using them as they are a bit cheaper and both have triple-double upside on a nightly basis, and they both actually have one already this season. I just don't love targeting players going up against Denver, and this game should be played at a pretty slow pace and doesn't have the it does also have the lowest Vegas total on the slate as well. So those are two factors going against those two guys. But it wouldn't surprise me if either have a good game, and they should. I just don't know if they're going to have an absolute ceiling game. And if they fit in your lineups better than AD or whatever, yeah, that's fine. I'm not against using them, and I just like LeBron and Anthony Davis a lot more tonight. But I have nothing against Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic tonight, but just personal preference, I like LeBron and Anthony Davis, so big Lakers fan tonight. And then as for the mid-range, there's actually a couple guys I like in the mid-range. I know I usually don't go over some mid-range guys, but I think we're going to do that tonight, and we're going to start with Jimmy Butler. Ooh, let me find him first. Okay, he's up top, 7,700. So this is going to be his first game of the season tonight, as he was, the personal issues he was having. Not actually personal issues, but the baby. But anyway, the Heat have the highest implied team total on the slate. Well, actually, they're top of the Lakers, but still, it's also the highest Vegas total, and just in general, at 223 for the over/under. And they have the highest projected pace game on the slate versus Atlanta, who plays pretty darn fast. I know they haven't yet this season, but you should look who they played. They've been playing some pretty slow teams, so I would expect their pace to, pop up a little bit. And they lack on defense as a unit in general. So yeah, we're gonna want some pieces from this game, especially from the Miami Heat side of the ball. I do like the price on Butler. He seems a little bit too cheap in my opinion. And last season he only averaged 1.07 points per minute with a 22% usage rate. But he also played with guys like Karl-Anthony Towns, Joel Embiid, and Ben Simmons, who obviously are going to command a lot of attention of the ball. So that's obviously going to hurt his numbers as more of a secondary piece. So now as the main guy at Miami, I'd expect all those numbers to rise. And if we're going to project him for say around 34 minutes. He's obviously going to be fresh. He hasn't played yet. So you're looking at around 40-point projection as just for like a medium projection. And he has upside in this matchup too. It should be fast-paced-ish and the highest Vegas total on the slate. So I like Jimmy Butler here. And also Atlanta is on back-to-back, so there's that advantage as well, as their defense might not be as sharp. So Jimmy Butler, I think he makes some sense too. And I'm just saying, I'm not actually building a lineup right now. I'm just throwing the guys in the player pool that I'm talking about. So I'm not actually trying to build a lineup, but I don't actually know how much salary we're going to have left. But if we do have enough, maybe it could be a lineup. But next thing I want to talk about is Bam Adebayo at, actually I don't remember. I think he's like 7K. Yeah, 7K. So you can put him at power forward or center or utility spot or whatever. So now I will say he's going to see his numbers come down with Butler back, but he's also been pretty good the last two games. As the first one, the game got out of hand and he only had 33 fantasy points, only played 24 minutes. The last two games is probably more indicative of what we're going to see on a nightly basis. He had 32 minutes, and he's averaging 32 minutes per game. 32 minutes the last game. They had 38 minutes the game before that, so it's at like 35 average minutes per game, which is probably more of what we are going to see this season. He had 49 and 40 fantasy points. And like I said, the Heat had the highest total of the night, or tied with the Lakers. So I want pieces from it, and Atlanta plays fast. They haven't played fast this season, like I said, but they played slow teams, the Pacers, the Tigers, the Pistons. So you have to think that's what's responsible for those numbers so far. He's averaged 1.2 points per minute and a 20% usage rate. Even if we bump those down a little bit, I think he's a fine play versus Atlanta. I got him for about about 40 points tonight, which is fine. I think he's got upside for more. So, bam, I like him. And then I think we're going to talk about a value guy now. Just checking my notes. Yep, we're going to talk about DeAndre Bembry at 3,500. Now you could plug him in at the forward position or whatever. He's only 3,500. And so Cam Reddish, Hunter, and the younger guys, they got their minutes increased to around 30 minutes last night after having a minutes cap. So we're just speculating right now, but we are on a back-to-back here, so their minutes may be reduced or even possibly one of them maybe even sit. So this would open up some value for guys like DeAndre Bembry, who could see his minutes in the mid-20s at only 3,500. Now the first two games, he had 23 and 25 minutes, and then fell to only 20 last night with the guys getting an increase in minutes. But I think we see that tick back up to the mid-20s tonight and hit around 20 fantasy points, which is just fine for his price. But really, we're just speculating here, but we're just going under the assumption that maybe their minutes get reduced again. And then Bembry at 3,500, I think he's a pretty good play. This is a really high Vegas over-under. I want pieces from this game. So Bembry, he makes some sense, and he offers us some salary relief as well. And then if you want another mid-range option, I don't mind Jamal Murray here at, I believe he's 6,300. He's actually just popping up as a really good value. in my sheet right now. So just figured I'd talk about him. And he's got upside as well. It's just this is probably going to be a more slower paced game. But if he fits into your lineup nicely, I don't mind him at only 6,600. He's got upside as long as his shots are falling. At 27 points the one game versus Phoenix, which obviously that's a great matchup at 43 fantasy points, but it's just what he can do. Dallas got absolutely blitzed by the guard position last night versus the Trailblazers. McCollum had a great game, and so did Damian Lillard. So Jamal Murray, I think he's in probably for a pretty good game here. Probably going to get you over 30 fantasy points and does pop out as one of my better values on my sheet tonight. So again, that's going to be it for this video, guys. So I think the guys I talked about were LeBron, AD, Jimmy Butler, Bam, Jamal Murray, and DeAndre Bembry. I'll have more value plays on my sheet later tonight when more news comes out, because as of right now I'm just speculating, so we're gonna have to see. Anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for this video. If it was helpful, remember to leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out, and I really appreciate it. If you're interested in the spreadsheet, I build every single night, put a lot of time into it. Links available in the description below for my Patreon, and I'll see you guys in the next video, and I wish you guys the best of luck.